Hey guys, this is Tarnish here. I just wanted to go over today we got some, I guess you'd say good, maybe bad news. It's kind of hard to really judge it as someone who doesn't have the beta. Um, but essentially, from what the email I received, also YouTube blowing up, is they were talking about, I guess, balancing issues for the end game. Um, that obviously affects me very much. As you guys will see, this is obviously my first YouTube channel uh, video. But my background is mythic rating at the high end, um, mostly on Holy Paladin, but I've also done things on Prot Paladin, uh, much older content though. But as the most relevant recent content, it's going to be Holy Paladin. Um, from the footage I've seen so far, I definitely planned on switching from Holy Paladin. That's going to be a whole nother video for a whole nother time. Uh, but maybe it could change actually due to the balancing issues they're talking about. So to me, as a Holy Paladin who's not happy with a lot of the changes for Holy Paladin, um, maybe I can go back to Holy Paladin. We'll see. But as far as from what I can tell, I would likely be playing on my Druid, uh, which is right here. I just got him to 120 literally, I think last night. So probably be playing on the Holy Paladin. I probably won't be playing the Holy Paladin as things stand for today. So for me seeing the delay, I actually got kind of happy, and I was really hoping that they change Holy Paladin a little bit. Um, the Holy Power thing, I would like to try it more. I've tried a little bit on the PTR, trying to see where things gauge and kind of gauge how things are gonna go. It felt a little clunky to me. However, on the PTR things aren't as accurate. Oh, not to mention my gear is completely not what it used to be. Uh, Me quitting the beginning of BFA and returning made things kind of hard to judge. I did just recently gear up my Holy Paladin on Alliance side. Actually, a Horde player, a YouTuber named Hayes DK, a friend of mine, actually got me to come to Alliance and play with him for Shadowlands. So I leveled, well, I actually used my boost from my Paladin, geared it up to about 350 item level. And now I have a druid that I actually just grinded up because of all the changes. I was like, Holy Paladin for the last two expansions has been kind of shocking in playstyle, and it's getting a little burnout on it. The Glimmer build was fun, but it got old kind of quick, especially for me being a Mythic Plus player. Um, Constantly doing the damage. I mean, it's fun for that, but in raid, I want to be able to have flexibility to do what I need. Not to mention, it helps when you're in a raid encounter where you kind of need to be more flexible and do what you need to do. So for the delay, I'm happy that it is happening for these balancing issues. Um, but yeah, um, is there any cons to it? I really don't know. I know some people took off work. I took off work actually. I'm one of the guys who took off like a week of work for Shadowlands launch, and I was really looking forward to it. Um, I guess on the positive side, we are going to get that pre patch, so we can get the leveling changes, so we can get more customizations and leveling easier and faster. So that's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't really see it as a con. I know a lot of people are upset about that, but uh, I can cancel my PTO and take it again later. So I don't know. Maybe some people can't, so that's why they're upset. Um, but I I kind of want to talk about why this is probably even happening. And I think a big reason why it's happening is because of the borrowed power system. You know, in Legion we had the artifact weapons and we powered those up and farmed for hours and mono souls the level up artifact weapons. I remember you guys were there. I was there. So yeah, artifact weapons, grinding mono souls, horrible. Uh, you know, had quite a few people burn out on that, especially trying to be competitive at the higher levels of mythic rating. It's, whew, man, that was rough. But so the pro to that was we got these really cool weapons. We invest a lot of time into them. They're very cool. They're important. I thought it was fun to have uh, decisions that mattered, I guess, in a way. And I think that's what they're trying to go with for Shadowlands. But at the same time, the changes they made over Legion I believe actually improved the playstyle. Being more alt friendly was a huge plus. I didn't like the fact that we couldn't be alt friendly because of that. So I like that they're changing that in Shadowlands. However, the borrowed power is really the problem here because the soul binds I think are adding a lot of complications with the class balancing, and I understand why. When you have these trees that every class and every spec in the game is supposed to go into. I mean, I've heard things like warlocks, or one spec of warlock is going one covenant, another spec of warlock's going a different covenant, and if you change any of those covenants, that could completely derail everything. So, you know, I understand 100% why they're having balance issues. And I think maybe this is something that they can take forward in the next expansions to come. Is the borrowed power is a cool thing to do every once in a while, and if they do it well. Artifact weapons I think was a good example of a good thing that they got done. I think that the Azarite traits from BFA, and then I think even the soul binds are probably an example of things they're a little bit too much work than what they're worth, because I don't think we're going to be that enthused about the soul binds. I think the covenants are cool, and I like that they want to create um, a decision that is meaningful. And another MMO that has a lot of that is Star Wars: The Old Republic, right? Another MMO. I rated in Star Wars: The Old Republic on, at the time, Nightmare was the highest difficulty, and that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing Nightmare, and through Star Wars: The Old Republic, if you ever played, the story has a lot of critical decision making points where your choices really matter, and that was really cool, and I really loved it. However, those decisions didn't really affect how powerful my character became. Um, Maybe in the story, maybe there's positions in where the story would change and you would technically, but when you played and I went to PvP or the PvE or whatever I wanted to do, it didn't affect me there. I was exactly as powerful as the next person. So I think that's kind of a good example. I think for World of Warcraft's history, I mean, let's look back to the Burning Crusade, where when you went to Shatteral, you had to pick, which side of the city you wanted to belong to. I don't remember the names off the top of my head, but that was meaningful. I remember there was enchants and stuff like that you could only get from one or the other. Um, I wasn't too good of a player back then, so I couldn't tell you what I picked, but I can definitely tell you that that was a meaningful decision, um, and it mattered. But in the game, like the raid, did it matter which one you were in? No, it didn't matter. So I think that's where I think they kind of went a little too deep on that. Um, and I think I might also have the issue with the classes. They want to add something new to the classes, but they don't want to actually make it the class, and that's what's a little weird too. And I'd rather them just either add a talent row, maybe rebalance, or I don't know, but if they want to add powers, I think they should choose a different avenue than just keep giving us new things, soul binds, and then you know Azurite traits, and then it's just too much. Maybe scale it back a little bit and just go back to simple class design. Maybe you take away a talent tree or a talent row, and then you add us a new one with something different each expansion. I don't really know, but I think that the borrowed power is definitely becoming an issue that is really starting to affect them, and I think it shows with the delay, right? Like they delayed it for a reason. Um, Let me see. So I guess in the conclusion of this is Shadowlands going to be good after getting delayed and everything? Uh, should we be worried? Is it going to be good? Is this something that we really need to be stressing out about? The fact that it's been delayed. And I honestly don't think that it's something we should be stressing too much about. I mean, let's go back to the pros of Shadowlands, right? Like, there's a lot of things, like they're making leveling better, right? They're making everything alt friendly, right? That's great. That's something we haven't had in a while. For PVEers specifically, because I'm a PVEer mostly. Although this expansion I do plan on pushing some arenas. For PvEers, you have a lot to be happy about, right? One of the biggest reasons why I quit BFA, and the biggest reasons why I had issues, or the biggest issues I had with when I came back for Legion, because I had quit after Cataclysm, went to Star Wars: The Republic, and then came back, is the fact that we killed a boss pre-nerf, and then they were nerfing everything and pushing everyone through it. Uh, I ran into a looking for raid raider who, this is the true story by the way, guys. Looking for raid raider, everything was Titan forged. He was just as geared as me, full mythic rating geared guy. You know, he was a looking for raid guy. He was just as geared as me to the teeth. All Titan forged and looking for raid. And on top of that, this guy played his character with one button. He literally just he would scroll up and down and it would do all his rotation for him. Um, this bothered me and all my raiders a lot because we worked very hard to get our gear, and it had mythic on it, which used to mean something back in the day. And for back in the day, it was heroic, but it used to mean something when you down bosses and got really powerful loot. What happened with Legion obviously was the fact that it wasn't special. Anyone could get gear, and you can get it from everywhere, from Mythic Plus, from looking for raid, which shouldn't even have loot in my opinion. So we gotta win, PvEers. We gotta win, Raiders, Dragon Slayers, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. We gotta win on this. The end bosses are gonna have the highest item level loot. That's great. Like that gives us something to really appreciate, something to flex with, something to perform higher than everyone else with. If you can actually down those last few bosses, I mean, man. And I know there's a lot of mythic guilds out there that were maybe they got midway before the nerfs hit and they would start to struggle and they had a hard time motivating themselves to push further. Um, well, now this gives them motivation, right? They want to get there because the more you clear week 1, week 2, week 3, the more of those big ticket items at the highest item level you're going to be able to get. So it gives you something to push for, something. So the motivation, the rewards are there now. So for PvE, we got that. They nerfed down the loot from Mythic Plus, so we can't just farm Mythic Plus like crazy and get super geared out like a Mythic Raider. It doesn't really happen anymore. Now, there is still a con of you go to this vault and you get the high item every week. Um, yeah, it still kind of bothers me a little bit because one, you do earn it by doing stuff throughout the week. However, getting something that is the highest level just given to, it's a little weird. I have a little bit of problems with that, but it's nothing groundbreaking. I'm not super mad at it, you know. So the mythic content's back. We got the last couple bosses. Will feel rewarded. One of the cons, though, I have to say with Shadowlands is the master loot. I don't know why PvE content still does that master loot. Like Blizzard, come on, please. I get it. I know you're trying to nerf the one percenters, the limits and the methods and all those hardcore guys who do like nonstop. I mean, I ran with a couple guys from Limit and Legion, and like those dudes were on some serious shit. Like they were doing speed gear, running through my souls with speed gear on. Like that is what they were doing. And they weren't optimizing their stats for defensive or damage. It was all for speed, all about speed. And if you couldn't keep up, you got kicked from the group, and that's actually what happened to me. I kept up for about 2 or 3 dungeons, and they kicked me, and I'm like, oh well, it is what it is. So past that, the Mythic Plus being scaled down, everything. Um, I am a little sad about the Mythic Plus being kind of. There's not much point to push it other than bragging rights, but maybe they can add a set or a mount or mounts for pushing those really crazy high keys. For those who get to the 25 plus and the 30 keys, like those are a lot of fun and they bring their own challenges. And being there myself, been there myself, it was a lot of fun, a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And having something to really gloat about, but pushing it would be kind of cool. And it doesn't have to be power related, it doesn't need to be loot related. It can actually be cosmetic, and people will still want to do it. I would want to do it. Looking cool is plenty of a reward, or driving a really cool mount, which is only able to get it from one way, you know. Um, for PvP, I mean, there's some wins there too, right? We're gonna get the PvP vendor. There is no PvP stat still, from what I've heard, so it looks like versatility is kind of filling that role. Um, I don't know. We'll see how that kind of goes. I think it's a little weird stack and versatility. It's obviously a BFA thing. Um, yeah, we'll see. The PvP vendors is a good thing though. I don't know why they don't go back to the badge and vendor system. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that was a really fun and simple system, and it worked, and it felt rewarding because you'd farm for something and then go buy it, and then you knew what you were getting, and it all worked. I don't understand why they gotta overcomplicate it. Um, but I'm glad that they have a system of a PvP vendor coming back. That's really good. Um, so I guess the overall thing I'd say, I think it's going to be a good expansion. I think I can comfortably say it's going to be a good expansion. They're doing a lot of things that we have been asking for a long time, and thank you, Blizzard, for doing that. I'm really happy that you guys have finally come around to those things, and it's going to bring a lot of people back. So the community itself will be more lively, at least for the first few months. I don't. I'm going to be hesitant to say it's going to be a Wrath of the Lich King or Legion size, expansion. Uh, it could be. It has the potential to be, but I think it'll be a good, solid expansion to play. Plenty of memories being made and fun to have been had. Um, you know, uh, we know that it's serious because Blizzard wouldn't just delay, especially with Activision behind them. They wouldn't just delay an expansion for no reason. And we know the balancing issues are real, really bad. From what I've seen from Peach's videos, it looks really bad, and I understand completely because I can do the math, being a mythic raid leader myself, and ex mythic raid leader, ex mythic guild leader. Uh, the borrowed power system has been a problem. I've been wondering why they went this path because it's so much more work, which is bad for us in the long run because we don't want them spending all their time trying to balance stuff. We want them to create more cool stuff for us to go do. So when they're sitting there stuck having to balance stuff that's super intricate and hard to balance, although it is fun having intricate builds and all that stuff, it, it kind of can take away from the overall gameplay when we can't have, like, we could have a whole extra dungeon, we could have another raid. I kind of liked Cataclysm and the fact that the first few raids, like there was like three of them, and you kind of had to pick which one you wanted to go to. That was kind of fun, you know. If they could do that, that would be awesome, you know. But instead, they're sitting here trying to balance all these intricate things they've created and doing all these math puzzles, and then all it takes is one haze DK to run in there and find something broken, and they got they gotta figure it all out and fix it all again, you know. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good expansion though. I really do. Um, uh, Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing them do this more. Do it more, Blizzard. If you feel like it's not finished, delay it. Us old school guys at least, we don't mind waiting for something good. You know, uh, to me, it shows responsibility. It shows that you want to give us a good quality content and quality a quality game really. And that's true. We that's what we want. We want quality, and that's something that I feel like the expansions have kind of lacked. And um, I'm glad that you guys are getting back to the core, getting back to some of the things that we liked and are starting to listen to us. I'm not saying to listen to us too much. I'll be honest. The communities aren't always. You guys weren't completely wrong when you said you think you want this, but you don't. Uh, there are definitely things that we want for sure, but sometimes what we want when those tires hit the road, I think it's how I heard someone else explain it. It doesn't always turn out how you would want, and that's the truth, right? You might want a dungeon finder, but the reality is there's something special about getting that group together and running to the dungeon, right? You might want to fly, however, if the flying mount ruins another aspect of the game, as much as it's cool, as much as we enjoy it, those things have, you know, a cost in a way that could really hurt the game as a whole. And it's hard. It's hard. And then, like I said, I tip my hat to you guys. You guys got a really hard job. I wish there was a cut and dry answer I could give you guys on how to make everything perfect, which I can't. But there are some things I can tell you how to do to make things better that I've already played and done. And I've been with you guys the whole time, guys. I've been here since vanilla all the way onwards. And I have to say, I think that there's a lot of promising change coming to Shadowlands. So even if it is not the best expansion ever, I do believe it's going to be a good expansion, and I believe they're bringing a lot of the great things back with it. Anyways, guys, that's me. That's my first video, guys. So for those that are just meeting me, my name's Tarnish. Real name's Nick, but Tarnish from Dark Creed. For those who have rated to play with me, I'm sure you guys have seen me around. I've been around long enough. I've played almost every class at this point. There's a couple classes that haven't. But yeah, I hope I see you guys around. This is Tarnish out.